All right, let's dive in. Today, we're basically going to crack open the operating system of life itself. I'm talking about the deep, fundamental rules that run every single living thing on this planet. So let's get started. Okay, I know what you're thinking. This sounds like the start of a really weird joke, right? But seriously, just think about it for a second. You've got this incredible polar bear, right? Surviving in the Arctic. Then there's you. And then a tiny, single celled bacterium you can't even see. What on earth could possibly tie all three of you together? Well, the answer is way deeper than you probably think. It's not just one little thing, it's actually a whole set of shared principles. We're going to call them the 5 secret codes of life, and we're going to unpack every single one. Trust me, by the end of this, you're going to see the entire living world in a whole new light. All right, code number 1. This one is all about the shared blueprint. You see, underneath all the mind-boggling variety of life out there, there's a common plan. Every living thing, or what biologists call an organism, is basically built from the same set of instructions. So yeah, an organism is really just any individual living thing. And the most basic unit, think of it like the ultimate Lego brick for all of life, is the cell. It's the foundation. Some organisms are super simple, just one single cell. And then there are creatures like us, made of trillions of these cells, all working in concert. And this shared blueprint has 4 key parts. Okay, so first, like we just said, everything is made of cells. Got it. Second, all life needs energy to run. That whole process is called metabolism. It's literally what's powering you right now. Third, every living thing responds to what's happening around it. You squint when the sun's too bright, or a plant leans toward the light. And finally, number 4, all life makes more of itself. It reproduces, and it does that by passing on its traits using that incredible molecule, DNA. Okay, so if everything is built from these same basic parts, how in the world do they come together to make something as ridiculously complex as a person, or even a whole forest? Well, that leads us right into our second code, the power of systems. I love this analogy. Think about a car. If you just had a pile of all the parts, tires, engine, doors, sitting on the floor, well, that's not a car, is it? It's just a pile of metal. It's only when those parts interact as a system, the engine connects to the wheels, the steering wheel actually turns them, that's when you have a car. Life is exactly like that. And what's cool is that these systems are all nested inside each other. It's like levels. You start with individual cells, right? Then a bunch of similar cells get together to form tissues, like your muscle tissue. Then, different tissues team up to form an organ, like your heart. And all your organs work together to create, well, you, a complete organism. It's this amazing ladder of cooperation. But wait, it gets even bigger. This whole idea of systems scales all the way up. Think about a huge ecosystem, like a coral reef or a rainforest. That's just a massive system of all the plants and animals interacting with each other and their environment. It can even be something small and specific, like a little cleaner shrimp swaying right into the mouth of a giant moray eel to clean its teeth. That's a tiny, perfect system where they both get something out of the deal. Okay, on to code number 3. And this one is just elegant. It's a principle of incredible efficiency you can see literally everywhere in nature. And it's simple. The shape of something, its form, is almost perfectly designed for the job it needs to do. In other words, form follows function. You don't even have to look far to see this one in action. Just think about your own teeth. Your front teeth, your incisors, they're sharp, almost like little blades. Their structure is built for the function of biting. Now feel your back teeth, your molars. They're flat and wide. Their structure is built for the function of grinding. See? Different shapes for different jobs, all working together. Or check this out, the snout beetle. Its feet are an absolute marvel of natural engineering. It has these sharp little prongs that let it grip onto super smooth surfaces, but it also has soft pads that let it walk on rough stuff. The structure of its feet gives it the function of being this tiny, go-anywhere, all-terrain vehicle. It's just perfect for its environment. But that brings up a question, right? How does any living thing survive in a world that's constantly changing? It's hot, then it's cold, you're full, then you're hungry. How do we deal with all that? Well, that leads us to code number 4, a constant and totally critical balancing act. There's a name for this balancing act. It's called homeostasis. And all it means is maintaining stable conditions inside your body no matter what's going on outside. And this isn't just a nice to have, it's absolutely critical. Our cells can only survive in a very, very narrow range of conditions. So if homeostasis breaks down, that can be life-threatening. The classic example is your body temperature. You have this amazing internal thermostat that is always working to keep you right around 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit or 37 Celsius. If you get too cold, what happens? You start to shiver, right? Your muscles shake to create heat. Too hot? You sweat, and the evaporation cools you down. That's homeostasis, running in the background 24/7. So how does your body know when to shiver or sweat? It uses something called a negative feedback loop. And honestly, the best way to think about it is like cruise control in your car. You set it to 65 miles per hour. If you start going up a hill and slow down, a sensor detects that change, and the car gives the engine more gas to get back to 65. Your body does the exact same thing for temperature, for blood sugar, for all sorts of things. It's a constant, automatic, self-correcting system. Okay, let's recap. We've seen how life is built from a common blueprint, how it's organized into systems, how its form is perfectly suited to its function, and how it keeps itself in balance. But what's the one big idea that ties all of this together? What explains why things are this way? That brings us to our final code, code number 5. And this is the master key. It's the grand story of evolution. At its core, evolution is just the change in living things over vast stretches of time. But here's a really important point to get. This is not about one animal deciding, you know what, I think I need wings. It doesn't work like that. It's about changes in the genetics of a whole population, a whole species that happen slowly over thousands or millions of years. And the engine driving these changes is something called adaptation. And adaptation is just an inherited trait that gives an organism an edge, a better chance to survive and reproduce. Take this orchid, for instance. It has evolved to look almost exactly like a female bee. So what happens? A male bee comes along, thinks it's found a mate, and tries to, well, you know. In the process, it gets covered in pollen and flies off to the next flower. It's an absolutely brilliant survival trick passed down through generations. And this is where evolution gets so beautiful, because it explains two things that seem like opposites: the unity of all life and the diversity of all life. The unity, why we all share things like DNA and cells, comes from the fact that all life on Earth shares a common ancestor, way, way back in the past. But the incredible diversity, all the different species, that comes from adaptation. As life spread out and moved into new environments, it developed different solutions, different adaptations, creating the endless variety we see all around us. So there they are, the 5 core codes: a shared blueprint, the power of systems, form following function, that constant balancing act of homeostasis, and the grand overarching story of evolution. These aren't just separate ideas. They're the threads that weave all of biology together. You can see how evolution is the engine that drives adaptations, which in turn sculpts the form and function of a creature, which is built from systems of cells, all trying to maintain balance. See? It all connects. And now comes the best part, because now you have the codes. So I want you to try this. Later today, when you're just going about your day, look at anything alive. A plant on your windowsill, your dog, even just look at your own hand. And ask yourself, okay, which of the codes are happening here? I promise you, you've just been handed a brand new way to look at the entire world.